Okay. Okay. Welcome everyone. Welcome to TAC. In this channel, we are going to talk about technology, art, and creation. And I'm the host for the art section. In this opportunity, I would like to tell you about the introduction to visual communication design. What's what is design? How do we know the basic of the design itself? Okay, next. Uh, we are going to talk about workplace of the designer. Where the designer going to be? The production house? Of course, there are designer. Broadcast, industry, corporate, mall, restaurant, hotel, advertising, and magazine. And what the specialty work for the designer? They, they can be an illustrator, an art director, graphic designer, web designer, creative consultant, and animator. Okay, next. And what is the definition of the design itself? Bamford in 1991 tell us that designing refers to an activity, creating a plan or a blueprint for something novel that will perform a desired task. According to this definition, there are going so many designer, craftsmen itself become designer that design what, the table or even the door, and scientists design the theory that explain the whole work of the world, and even engineer become designer that design their product, their machine, and the lawyer that design the law itself, and so many designer that in the world. So what are we going to talk about? The design, which design we are going to talk about here? The designer here is the designer that concocts artifact for a practical use. The designer that focuses on a feature that user can perceive and control. The designer is a distinctively in modern figure like today. That so many designer in that but use their skill to be a famous people. Okay, next. So what visual communication visual communication design actually is? Visual communication design is a branch of the design science that studies how to deliver the message using creative expression to achieve certain goals, such as providing information or persuasion, as in advertising that we see a lot of in television, the technique, then media that use visual elements that convey the message are also studied. So here we are creating the creation, or it can be painting, it can be digital art, it can be an animation that we create that with a certain goal that is actually not to be worshipped or to go against the God. Not actually that, because yeah, we are the creation of the God itself. So we will never achieve the God itself, Godhood. And next, the creative process that combines the visual art and technology to communicate ideas. That is what designer is. Okay, we are going to see here the logo design that as an example of the creation of the designer that we create the logo design. As you can see, the Netflix, Animal Planet, even the Apple logo. We are going to make something like this, where and people didn't do worshipping it, so it's actually halal work. Okay, we are going to learn about what is there, what the what kind of word in this design, visual communication design. When we are talking about visual communication design, we are going to find the visual. What is the meaning of visual? It's a sign received by the sense of sight through the sensation of light. So we can see. Okay, next. What is verbal? We are going to find the verbal. Verbal is a sign received by the sense of sight and hearing as a language. The point is a language that we can find verbal language by hearing, or we can find verbal language by seeing, such as type, font, text. That is verbal language. Or we can hear people talking. That is verbal language as well. Okay, next. Kinetics, a sign formed from the basic element of motion, shaped by the sense. The movement of the movement, every movement in the world can be a sign that tell us a message, such as what the movement of people running fastly tell us that people in a hurry. Okay, next. We are going to talk about visual element. What is the visual element? How many visual elements? Okay, we are going to find out now. The first one is dot and line. Some people divide it into two elements, dot and line. But I'm going to combine it, dot and line, to be one visual element. Dot, or in my language, is titik. It's a dot, the smallest unit of visual element in the form of a dot. And a line, or in my language, is garis. It's formed from a series of dots, can also be said to be a path that is created from one point or one dot to another. Usually it determines a shape, a contour, an outline, a volume, and even a mass. Okay, next. There are two kinds of line. There is rendering line, is a form line with consistent line weight to show the intersection edge and ends of surface. The second one is artistic line, is a line shape with an equal thickness, weight. You can see which one rendering line, which one artistic line. Show us in the comment. Okay, next, the visual element. The second visual element is shape. Shape is a line that forms a closed and a flat shape, two dimension. As you can see, this is a shape. This is an example of a shape. Okay, next. The third visual element is a form. Three-dimensional object not only has length and width, but has depth. In the heart. As you can see here in the example, we can see the depth of an object. We can see an object to be three-dimensional object, right? It's very different from the shape previously. Here is the form. And next is color. Visual element is produced when light hitting an object and reflected back into our eye. That's into color theory and understand hues, tones, shade, or the difference between analog and complementary color scheme. And as you can see, uh, the previous designer, the previous artist has or designed their theory about color. Here is one of them. The, from Munson, the attributes that operate on color. The first one is hue, 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 hue. The color itself. It's the color itself. The distinctive quality by which a person can distinguish one color from another. For example, red, blue, green, yellow. That is a hue because hue is the color itself. And the second one is a value, the brightness of the hue, the quality that distinguish a light color from a dark color, a light color uh, and a dark color, light and dark color, in the range from white to black. And the third one is chroma or intensity, the quality that distinguish a strong color from a weak one, the departure of a color sensation from white or gray, the intensity of the hue of a color. Okay, now here the example of the value, the visual element of a value. Value, how light or dark an object or area is. Why do I divide it from color? Because it is an important one. Even black and white has a value. And it's up to you. If you consider dark and white as color, it can include it to the color visual element. And if you divide it into a different, it's okay too. Okay, next, the texture. The perceived surface quality of a work of art are two-dimensional and a three-dimensional design element and are distinguished by their perceived visual and physical properties. As you can see, the example of it, when you see a marble of glass, very different from the marble of wood, the texture. And the snow, an iron, a cotton. Okay, next. The seventh is a space. 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 The use of the area within the image plane by the art, the area around the main object in a work of art is referred to as a negative space and white space. Negative space and positive space. Okay, you can see here in today web design, you can see and we can see it again in an illustration as an example. Next, the other visual component is the layout, arrangement of design element in one design that form a single unit and contains aesthetic value. Okay, next. The other visual component is typography. Typography. Why is it in Indonesia? It's okay. The typography is a design element in the form of verbal letter fonts that serve to strengthen the visual representation in a design, the art of composing message in a readable and aesthetically pleasing composition. And today, it's become the what? Not just composition. It's become another uh, major studies that in design because it's become logotype. It can be learned by itself. That it's not just uh, layout in the layout. Okay, now visual component is image. Is a picture have makes connection with text and can clarify the information presented in the layout by adding meaning and generating association. Representation of message in the form of a visual image. You can say it in one sentence. The image is a representation of message in the form of visual image. Okay, next. The next visual component is logo, a graphic sign, emblem, or a symbol used to assist and promote public identification, and recognition. Also identify any company, commercial product, or public or private entity. You yourself can make your own logo. So make your own logo in the comment. Okay, next. The next visual component is decorative. The application decorative is the application of color, line, texture, or pattern to an object. It's a complementary visual element in the form of symbol or even an abstract to add aesthetic value. You can see here there is an abstract design of decorative, and here the iconic one that become a symbol can become a symbol. What is that? Huh? A feather. Okay. I'm going to give you an assignment. Look for a picture of an object, whether it's a plant, animal, or a product. Draw with four drawing style in size of 10, 10 centimeter to 16 centimeter on thick paper uh, and paste it on 10 centimeter in black linen paper. Stapled on top of left corner. You can do whatever you want. In what size? It is this for my mature. Okay, here's an example of the assignment. The first one, draw it with contour line style. Draw to completion without raising your hand or stopping in the middle of draw. Draw the cat or draw the laptop or draw everything around you and do it with contour line style drawing. And the next is curves. What is curve? It's a line. Draw with one way line. Do you want to draw it from up to down or from left to right? It's up to you. But draw it one way. Okay. And the next one is the dot. The dot. Draw with one dot only dot, draw the cat with dot, draw everything, the camera, the uh, okay. The last one is hybrid. Draw by combining the previous three styles: contour line, the line, one-way line, and the dot one become one, and see what happens. Is it going to be good, or yeah? This is just an exercise to uh, for you to have a skill to catch what you see, to catch the representation of what you see, the line, right? Because yeah, everything, even martial artists always exercise their skill. Even in game, you exercise your skill. You do it over and over again to gain the experience, to level up your skill. Yeah, it's the same with human life. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you very much.